Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, and I know most people don't care much for Mondays, but I kind of look forward to them, especially given the fact that I get to come to you guys with new content for the week. So, anyway, I've got plenty of stuff to work on this week, as you guys have, if you have been following along. I've got the Camaro sitting back here. I've got the '68 Mustang sitting over here waiting for some attention, and then most important, I have Kevin's C10, which I'm trying to push on it so I can get it done. So also, I think this week up front, I'm going to get back to my roots just a little bit. I have a small block Chevy up there that it's an engine that I built quite a while back. I sold it and I've detuned it, so to speak, and I've got to basically put it together for a guy and run it on the run stand. So I may bring that to you guys this week. Also, I've got a Ford 9-inch rear end sitting over on the counter that I need to go through for another guy. But anyway, first thing this morning, I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging in the shop. I'm going to bring the bed from up front. I need to stage it in the back and get ready for, hopefully if I get the back glass for the cab, then we can get it set and then I can put the bed on the chassis and then put it up front to do the assembly. So before I get too carried away, I want to thank you guys. As always, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the channel. The folks that are loyal followers, hey, I thank you guys more than you know. I appreciate the comments. Also, I did start something last week with the tech tip of the week. I had a person respond and ask about the tools that I use for bending. So I plan on featuring my flaring tool, and I'll do a little bit of bending technique this week in the tech tip. So anyway, as I say, I appreciate it, and I'm going to get set up and we're going to start rolling the cameras a little bit. So I think I'll start Monday morning right here on this 69 Chevelle. So last week I did mention that I had parts and I was hoping to work on this, but since I was pretty well hooked up on Kevin's truck, I didn't get an opportunity to do that. So this is a 69 SS 396. This is a true SS car. It is a numbers matching car. And at some point in its life, somebody did do a frame on restoration. So they also came in and they added a bunch of incorrect parts underneath the hood, the belts, the pulleys, the brackets. None of that stuff lined up really well. Plus, it was not period correct for 1969. Additionally, someone had added an Edelbrock intake as well as a Holley carburetor, which once again wasn't original to the car. So I have installed a cast iron intake and a Quadrajet, a Rochester Quadrajet, which both of those parts are true casting numbers correct for the car. So I'm in the process of putting this back to what it looked like in 1969. And I will throw this out there, I have a lot harder time doing something like this than I do some of the other stuff, given the fact that I have a lot more freedom on some of the custom builds. Whereas this, I'm looking at assembly manuals and trying to figure out how parts go on the correct way. So with that being said, I'm going to start today here. I've got a handful of things that I'm going to try to get done to this car, and we'll see how far and how much I get done. So I'll see you guys after a bit. So one of the first things that I'm going to do, and I wish I'd have known this before the intake was installed, but this is a plug. This is a pipe plug that was put into this intake. And I can't get that out. So I have started drilling holes in that thing. And I am going to attempt to remove that plug without pulling the intake back off and using a bunch of heat. So I need this for the factory heater hose location because these are the two that supply the heater core. This one will end up being plugged. So I've got to get that thing freed up, and then I may have to do a little bit of surgery back here on that. Looks like I've got a screw bolt that's broken there, and I may have to, at the end of the day, I may end up pulling the intake just so I can set it on the bench to fix it. So that's where I'm going to start this morning. So if you're in the automotive industry, and I don't care what sector, if you have something like that and you're able to get it to this point, that is what we call a huge victory. So got it out, should be good shape, should be able to seal. So I'm going to continue pressing on the car. That is bolt extraction number 2. So I'm batting 1,000. So with that, I'm going to go down, I think, and buy a lottery ticket because I think the stars are starting to align, and I should at least take advantage of that. I am back. I did not go buy a lottery ticket. However, I did make a trip to the parts store, and that's where I hit strikes 1, 2, and 3. It seemed as though everything that I need, they either had to order or they may not be able to get it. So I'm going to have to sit down tonight. I've got books to take home, and I'm going to end up doing some homework. So I was able to get quite a bit of stuff done, but as the more stuff that I put on, I found out more things that I'm going to need. And that is one of the struggles of a car like this that has to go back pretty well original as we can. So I was able to get the carburetor set, and I did get the fuel line from the fuel pump up to the carburetor on. I also got the vacuum line from the carburetor to the distributor installed. Additionally, I had to reclock the alternator because the alternator was ordered. It was set up for the driver's side, and this has a passenger side alternator. I pre-fit the AC compressor and ran into a couple of items there that I'm going to have to get. So the other part that I was able to do, I got the AC condenser installed, and then I discovered that I needed more lines. So I think I'm going to call it good on this one for tonight. Like I said, I've got to get more parts, and I think I'm going to go up front. I'm either going to work on some of Kevin's air conditioning stuff and get it ready, or I'm going to jump on that small block Chevy and start cleaning up the gasket surfaces. Now that I got the gasket surfaces cleaned up on this engine, let's talk just a little bit about this thing. This is I believe it's a 69 to 79 dated 010 block. It is very good block. It's actually sought after. This is a 4-bolt main block, as you can see. And this has also been, I don't know if you'll be able to see it from that angle, but I might put a picture up here. But you can see where the block has been clearanced to accept a 3.75 inch stroke crank. This does have a new Eagle cast iron crank. They put ARP rod bolts in it, and of course the bottom end has all been balanced. I built this engine. Actually, there is a video on a couple of video series on this engine on this channel, and I ended up buying the engine from the guy, and I just recently I sold it as a short block minus the cam and lifters. And to be fair, the stuff that was in this engine was way overkill for this build, so I'm somewhat detuning it, and it's going to go in I believe a 79 Chevy pickup, little four-wheel drive truck. But anyway, it is bored 30 over. It does have new pistons, as you can see. I believe these are Hyper Eutectic pistons. And to be fair, I've got a small Summit brand cam. It's a hydraulic flat tappet cam that's going to go back in it. So I don't know how much more of this I can do this evening. I mainly wanted to get the gasket surfaces cleaned up, so I got that done. I have to get a timing chain and gear ordered, and then I'll finish assembling this thing, and once it's assembled, we'll put it on the run stand. But with that being said, I think it's not been a super productive day, but I have gotten a little bit of stuff done, so I think I'm going to leave it with you guys tonight. I'm going to come back in the morning, and we're going to regroup. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more to show for tomorrow. So you guys have a good evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey, good morning, everybody. I am back in the shop, and if you're watching this, you came back with me, so I appreciate you for that. So anyway, I planned on working on the C10 today, and I have a lot of parts that are either ordered or at Chris's shop being painted. So I would like to have all of those parts here, so that way whenever I start working on that truck, I can keep my nose down and I can get a lot of stuff knocked out on it. So anyway, the first thing that I'm going to do this morning, and it'll give you guys somewhat of a glimpse into everyday life in here, is I have to rearrange the shop again. I need this lift in the morning for another car. Hopefully I'll be able to film some of that. So I'll set the cameras up and I'll let you guys see what I go through some days. But I think once I'm done with that, I'm going to jump over back on the Camaro. The windshield and A-pillar post on the passenger side, I've got a little modification to make to it, and I want to finish out that bed. I would like to finish that glass on that car this week, so I think that's the plan for today, unless something comes up and I get sidetracked. So I will set the cameras up and we'll get to rolling, and I'll see you guys after a while. Now that I have that moved, we are going to join your regularly scheduled program already in progress. I'll see you on the next commercial break. So one of the first things that I'm going to do over here is I'm going to extend this A-pillar and bring it down flush with this fender. I didn't cover this much on the other side when I did it, so up in the corner you'll see what the end result is. Now once the fender and door come back off, I have to box the bottom of that end, but I'm going to start right here and flush this, and the more we get into this, I'll somewhat explain why I'm doing this. Okay, I've got this A-pillar somewhat boxed in. Now, there's some stuff over here you can see. I still have some filling to do here. I didn't want to get too carried away because I'm pretty sure this A-pillar, I'm gonna have to close that up towards the glass like I did the rear. Also, if you look right here, that I will fix whenever I fix this. If you'll look from about this line down, it has an arch in it, and I want to flatten this out. So it's gonna basically come from here and flush out with the fender line. So that's kind of the look that I'm trying to accomplish. Also, I may have to do a little bit on the fender to round the fender a little bit more out here. May end up having to pull the fender out just a tad bit more and opening up this gap. But that's the look that I'm trying to achieve. That way you don't run the lower trim on this oversized glass. So the process is pretty much the same as what I did on the back glass. I'll build a template out of cardboard, then I'll transfer that template onto 1/8" plate, cut it out, drill my spot weld holes, apply my zinc weld through primer, fasten them into place, and then just weld them out and then grind them and finish them. I was truly hoping to have more done today, but some days the work process, it flows like water, and you get a lot done. Everything just fits and it works. Then there are other days where it just feels like it's a peanut butter. So I'm gonna call today a peanut butter day. Regardless, I got a little bit done, and every day that you get something done is more than not getting anything done at all. So I've managed to get both sides of the bed, good grief, up to at least here on both sides. And I've got the templates already set up for the A-pillar. So depending on what happens tomorrow, I may try to jump back on this. If not, I may have a couple of other deals that I may work on tomorrow. So with that being said, I am going to leave it with you guys tonight, and I will see you back here either in the morning or tomorrow afternoon. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm back at it. And last night I went to Chris's and picked up all the parts. I had mentioned that we picked another color to accent the body color, and I've got a bunch of these parts here. Hopefully, let me find a piece, give you guys a look, but it's somewhat of a pewter, and I tried to match the charcoal pewter color that was on his wheels. But anyway, I'm back in the shop this morning. I have a customer bringing in a 77 Nova hatchback, and if you follow my channel, if I'm able to film this car, I don't know, sometimes people, they don't want their cars to be filmed, and that's fine if not. But if you see this car, you're gonna swear that it's old blue, my blue car, because with the exception of the hole in the hood and everything that's underneath the hood, the car looks almost identical as far as the color. So I'm gonna get the shop set up and wait for him to show up, and if I'm able to film, I'll cut a little bit in, but if not, I will get back on here later on today and give you guys an update and tell you how my day's going. Hopefully it's better than a peanut butter day. So Anyway, I will see you guys after a bit. Hey, what's up everybody? I am back and it's a little bit after 12, and unfortunately the car that I had this morning, which you can see in the upper corner, was a very pretty blue 1977 Nova. However, owner didn't really want to film it. I'm okay with that. It's their choice. I always make sure. So anyway, that is his car. It does have a small LS1. We did some drive shaft angle. So currently I am in the truck and we're going on a field trip. I don't know if you guys will remember, but a couple of weeks ago I let a video out and there was a guest appearance on the episode, and it was a guy named Steve Mank that has been in the automotive industry. He actually hosted some Power Block TV back in the day. And anyway, he's got a car. If you'll remember, he was talking about a car that was going to SEMA, and I am going to go over and help him dial in the Edelbrock fuel system. So that's where we're headed. So I will see you when we get there. He told me to bring the cameras, so hopefully we'll get a little bit of capture some footage for this afternoon. So I'll see you guys shortly. All right, I am here at Steve and Tina's house, and behind me is the car that they are preparing to go to SEMA. So without me butchering the name of his actual shop name, I'm gonna let him kind of talk about his shop just a little bit and tell you just a little bit about the car that we're getting ready to start. Steve
Waiting
Mank.
on me?
Yep, Steve Mank.
While we're here at Conestoga Motors, Conestoga, just like the old wagon, there's a little play on words there, as well as the little village in Canada I grew up in. But if you guys seen Steve's little blip from a couple weeks ago, this is the car we put the exhaust system on that he made for me. We're at fire up. This is it. We literally have to be on the road and out of here sometime tomorrow to get to Vegas. So if we get through this and it starts up and it runs good and we get it going, big plus. We do not want to push a car at SEMA. So this is it.
I think everything, he kind of cracked the engine off yesterday. It seemed to like everything was going to go all right, but this has got an Edelbrock ProFlow 4 system, and this is the exact same system. If you guys follow my page, my channel, you'll know there was a guy that I built a 302 for him and his boys truck. This is pretty much the same system. So I'm gonna turn the camera on and just let it film. We're going to walk through the wizard just a little bit, and we're gonna try to get this thing started and dial in the timing. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll see you guys shortly. All right, it is late afternoon and I am headed back to the house. So as you saw, we did get the car running, and unfortunately we had two injectors that are not working. So we were able to get a hold of the right people, and he's got a full set of injectors that are going to be overnighted. They have to leave first thing in the morning, and they're going to actually overnight the injectors to the motel that they are staying at in Vegas. So anyway, I wish them luck, and we did film a bunch of other stuff, and I will release that after the car makes its debut in SEMA. So I'm gonna go to the house for the night and call it an evening, and hopefully I'll see you guys back at the shop first thing in the morning. So you guys have a great evening. Hey, good morning everybody. I'm back at it, and today I've got a ton of stuff to do to Kevin's truck, so I think that's what I'm gonna work on today. Hopefully later on, Chris is gonna come out, we're gonna get the back glass put in it, and I've got a lot of parts that I can start putting on this thing. So I'm gonna try to spend the majority of the day working on this. But before I do, I want to thank the Manks once again for letting me come over yesterday and filming at their shop. So I will look to see next week. I'll probably cut that video out about midweek. I let the cameras roll for quite a while. So anyway, I'll put that up, and so be looking for it next week. But just outside of that, I'm going to get after it and see what I can get done to this truck today. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Steve here, and it is time for the tech tip of the week. So in last week's video, I had a person comment and ask me about my tubing benders and what I use. So today in the tech tip, we're gonna go over some tubing benders. Also, I wanna go over my flaring tool, which this thing is by far the Cadillac of flaring tools, just outside of the hydraulic models that they make. So I'm gonna get the camera set up and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I use. So in last week's video, I bent all the brake lines on Kevin's C10 just using these two benders. Now, this one is very straightforward. You put your line in here and it will hook here, and you pretty much can bend it all the way from a slight radius to a little bit over 90 degrees. Now, this one also accepts quarter, 5/16 and 3/8 lines. Now, this one is a little bit different. It only will do 3/16 line, and you somewhat, 3/16 actually is smaller, as you can see in these grooves. You pretty much have to unscrew one of the wheels, stick the line in there, and this one is, for the most part, is pretty well, it's manual by your hand. But 3/16 lines, a lot of times also you can just bend these things pretty easy with your finger or bend them over a socket. So anyway, these are the two that I used. I just got this one in the mail the other day because I needed one that would go up to 1/2 inch. This one I think goes to 1/2 inch, 3/8 and 5/16. Once again, the same concept. You put your line in here and you catch it here, and then you just bend it. So there are some tips and tricks to bending from point A to point B, and I think I can cover some of that as I continue, maybe whenever I do his brake lines from the front of the truck. So anyway, I'm gonna set the camera up and we're gonna go over the flaring tool next. Okay, so this is my Eastwood double inverted flaring tool, and as I said previous, this is the Cadillac of flaring tools. I've used this a multitude of times, and if you've ever made these double inverted flares, you're gonna see just how simple and easy this thing is. Now, they do make one that is a hydraulic model, which this one is a little bit tough if you have to make a flare on the actual vehicle, whereas the other ones, they're a little bit easier because they do have a little hydraulic pump on them. So this is a 3/16 jig. It also comes with a quarter, 5/16 as well as a 3/8. Now, I have used the quarter and the 3/8, and this thing, it does just equally as well on any of those. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this head in here, and now there's two different molds, and I typically just will use this small angled one, and I'm gonna face that towards the head. So the next thing is get your line cut. Now, this line is already cut, and a lot of times I will take a flat file or a reamer. After you make your cut, this is gonna enclose somewhat. Now, some of these tubing cutters definitely have a reamer on them, and I guess maybe I need to quit being so tight and go buy one. But a lot of times I'll make my cut and I'll take a flat file and I'll just work this down a little bit and get it nice and flat. Once I am there, I don't know how hard it's going to be for you guys to see this, but this is called an OP.0. This is just a blank head, and I will roll that head because what this is going to do, it's going to seat this in here and it's going to set your desired depth. I will pull the handle and somewhat hold it here, and then I'll run my tubing in until it hits the end of that head. Once we are there, just tighten it down, and then we're gonna look for OP1 3/16. That is the first step. This is the magic. Whoops, my vice moved, but that is step one. The next one, we're gonna go to OP2. We are also gonna look for the 3/16. Now the 3/16, the OP2, which is your second crimp or your second press, the 3/16 and the quarter share this. So then you bring it over here and then you push it in and you'll feel it stop. You don't have to force it. It's very fluid. It works very well. As you can see, It's almost flawless. Works like a champ. Now, as I said last week, make sure you don't forget to put your nut on here. So anyway, hopefully you guys got a little bit of use out of this. Unfortunately, not everyone has this tool, and they are quite expensive, but if you do a lot of brake lines, I'm sure you either have it or this is definitely a must in your toolbox. So we will see you guys on next week's Tech Tip of the Week. Thanks for watching. All right, so hopefully you guys found that information useful. And if you have an idea for a tech tip, hey, drop me a comment and I will see if I can make it happen. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on next week's Tech Tip of the Week. So as you can see, I have the truck in the assembly area. So Chris and I, we got the back glass set in. Also, this time I did not put the cart before the horse. I actually had some wiring that I needed to hook up for the sending units and the fuel pumps before I set the bed down. I got the bed set and I've just got some old bolts locating the bed. And I didn't want to bore you guys again with you watching me push this truck from the back up here in the front. So anyway, I was able to get a few other parts put on the truck. I didn't capture a ton of video today, which is fine, but there's a lot of small pieces. I'm starting to build out the doors. Once the doors are built out, and of course then I'm going to start building out the dash. And I will probably continue a lot of that tomorrow. So it's getting close to 5 o'clock now, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of a rearranging up here just to give myself a little bit more room. But other than that, I will see you guys first thing in the morning. Have a great evening. Good morning, everybody, and happy TGIF. Today is Friday. The week has been a blur. I've gotten a little bit of stuff done, but as you can see, I'm staged up on Kevin's truck, and I have a lot of little stuff to do today. So I have a tremendous amount of small work is what I'm going to call it, such as if you guys followed along and if you watched the progression of this build, I built this bulkhead for the vintage air system. So I've got to figure out how to build the insides of this, and there's a lot of other small stuff. I've got to build the steering column, just a handful of things that's going to be just really slow and time consuming. So I'm going to set the cameras up and I'm going to capture what I can, and I'll cut back in at some point today to kind of show you guys some of the progress that I've gotten done. So we'll see you guys after a while. So if you know who Colonel Potter is, you will know that one of his phrases was, "It is a pain in the derriere." Those doors and assembling these things, I forgot just how difficult they can be. So that's exactly what that driver's side was. I got it assembled, got the glass in it, got the regulator, got the wing glass, got the door pretty much built out, the door latch, lock, handle. That side is pretty much done. So I'm going to sit here and eat me some lunch, and then I'm going to try to build out the passenger side. Whichever side this is, I'm going to try to build this out next. that's gonna pretty much put a wrap on Friday. I was able to get both doors built out, all the rubbers, everything, all the trim, door locks, handles, inside. I've got to adjust the strikers, but other than that, the doors are pretty much done with the exception of the door panels. So I got a few other things done underneath on the engine, and also was able to sandblast and paint some parts in the back. So I still have quite a bit of stuff to do, and I think I'm going to come in tomorrow and spend a few hours tomorrow. Now, I don't know if I'm going to work on Kevin's truck or this small block Chevy sitting here in the front. I really need to get that thing assembled and get it put on the run stand. So that might be what I do tomorrow. So I'm going to give you guys a bonus day this week. So with that being said, I'm going to call it a night, and I'll see you guys back here in the morning. So have a good evening. Hey, what's up everybody? It is midday Saturday, and as promised, I'm out here. I'm going to give you guys some bonus footage, which is I'm going to finish, hopefully try to get this small block Chevy put together. So currently I have already replaced the rear main seal. I've got the oil pump bolted down. The pickup tube is installed. Also, it is tack welded. I'm getting ready to put the cam and lifters in it and hopefully get the timing gear cover and the pan on. So I'm going to set the cameras up and just let them roll. I will cut back in at sometime later on whenever I get to a point where I'm ready to maybe set this thing on the stand or maybe bolt the heads on. So I'll see you guys after a bit. So that's going to pretty much take care of the short block. Now, you probably noticed me dumping the oil from the tub, from the container, actually as a drain pan, back into the valley pan. I had the lifters soaking in that oil. That oil, there's probably not more than I doubt there's even an hour's worth of run time on that oil. Same way with the filter. I went ahead, when I took that stuff apart, when I took that engine apart, I actually drained that into a new drain pan, and I wanted to salvage the filter. I didn't see any reason why that I couldn't. So I have some work to do to the cylinder heads, so I'm going to start that next, and then hopefully we'll get those bolted on here shortly. Well, it always seems like I run into a snag whenever I have a plan to finish something up. So I got these heads cleaned, got them washed, got them wire wheeled, and I was in the process of putting valve seals in them. And to be fair, these things really could stand to be rebuilt. The valve faces are grooved, and I'm just afraid if we put these on, it's not going to be very long, and he's going to be wanting a new set of heads. So I'm going to run that by the owner, and we'll see what happens. But with that being said, I think this is going to close the video out for the week, and it's been a pretty good week. I've gotten some stuff done. I truly, some days I wish I could get more done, but it is what it is. So before I leave, I want to thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I greatly appreciate especially the people that are commenting, and hopefully you're enjoying the tech tips of the week and the content that I'm putting out. So as I said before, just if you have an idea for something, just drop it in the comments and I'll see if I can make it happen. So anyway, as I always tell you, I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.